Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day two of Now Conference Week. Some of you saw me yesterday. My name is Ying Hua, she, her pronoun, and I am a People and Organization Development Lead at UC Berkeley People and Culture. I'll be your moderator for this session, Invest in Yourself Goal Setting Workshop, presented by Rachel York. My awesome pod colleague and now conference co-chair Lisa Riker and now planning committee member Elizabeth Storr are also both here today and supporting behind the scenes as needed. With that, I'm gonna turn it over to our lovely presenter today, Rachel.
Hi, that's me. Yay! How's everybody doing? Welcome. So excited to be here with you. Let's kick in, yeah? I and thank you, Ying, for all those updates. Again, welcome. My name is Rachel York. My pronouns are she, her. I'm really looking forward to spending the next hour with you. Thought I'd share a little bit about me. I've been at UC Berkeley for over 10 years. I currently serve on the MBA admissions team at the Haas School of Business. And throughout my career, both here at Cal and earlier in corporate healthcare, I've always found myself consistently drawn to coaching and supporting others and discovering their purpose. So in recent years, I've found some real joy leading both in-person and virtual workshops. I love creating dynamic, engaging spaces for personal and collective growth, always aiming to bring some energy, inspiration, and a bit of fun to our learning experience. And I'm also deeply committed to fostering an environment where everyone feels safe, heard, and supported. I have a master's degree in counseling, so that part is important to me as well. On a personal note, I'm a mom of two. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, now happily soaking up the Bay Area weather. And in my spare time, you can find me on stage at one of our local theaters, do some very, very, very off-Broadway music theater. All right, but enough about me. I want to celebrate you all. I want to take a moment to celebrate you for being here. You've made time in your busy schedules to invest in yourself and your growth. And that's no small thing. So thank you for choosing to spend time with yourself and with us here today. I really hope if you take one thing from the session that we're having together, let it be that you took time to reconnect with yourself. And that does really matter. That pause, that reflection, it's where some real change can begin. All right. So before we dive in, I'd love to invite you to join me in something that I call a mindful minute. Right? So in this virtual world, many of us jump from one meeting to the next with little time to reset. I want to take this short pause as a chance to transition with intention, arrive fully present for our time together. Totally optional, but if you would like to join me, I invite you now. We're going to find a comfortable seated position. Let your feet rest flat on the ground and your hands gently in your lap or on your desk. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or soften your gaze. Take a deep breath in through your nose, letting your belly expand. Hold it for a moment, then gently exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply, focusing on the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. Notice any areas of tension or tightness in your body, your shoulders, your jaw, your forehead. Gently release them with each breath. Let go of any distractions or thoughts that might be lingering. Take a moment to reflect on something you're grateful for today. Whether it's something big or small, it could be a person, a pet, an opportunity, or just the fact that you're here. Allow this feeling of gratitude to fill you for a few moments, helping you approach this time we have together with positivity and intention. And when you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to the space around you by wiggling your fingers and toes, slowly opening your eyes. All right. Today's session, I have actually renamed a bit for us today. I'm calling it reflect, dream, and achieve. A fresh approach to goal setting. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a creative and meaningful approach to setting goals, one that's much more about connection and purpose than pressure and perfection. All right. And it's also a bit interactive. So I hope you brought some energy and enthusiasm because you're going to invest in yourself today. And, I know goal setting can sometimes feel a little intimidating. You might be thinking, gosh, another list of to-dos that maybe I probably won't even get to. But I really wanted to create this workshop to be different. So it's not going to be just about writing SMART goals, right? You've probably heard of those: specific, measurable, achievable, blah, blah. They're great for structure, but sometimes they can box us in before we've even allowed ourselves to dream. So today we're going to dream. We're going to go beyond that. We're going to reflect on our past successes. We're going to dream big without limits, and we're going to start turning those dreams into meaningful, manageable steps. Because goals aren't just about what we achieve, right? They're about how we're going to grow and evolve along the way. All right, so I've led this workshop before, but as a 2-hour in-person experience. So today I've adapted it for a shorter virtual format. I'm really excited to bring it to you in this new way. We're going to spend our time today. These are the full 8 steps of the exercise, but today we're going to spend our time on the first 5. Now, these early steps are all about slowing down, tuning in, and getting clear on what truly lights us up. The last 3 steps that are here, focus and prioritize, action builder, and accountability boost, those can easily be done in a group setting or independently if you do want to keep going later. So there will be some resources available to you, but for our time together today, I really want to prioritize space for that first fundamental 5. And if you're looking at this list and thinking, wait, I have no idea what this means, it's totally okay. We're going to move through each of these steps together, one at a time, and each is going to build on the previous. So, step 1, we're going to anchor in success. We're going to start by reflecting on some past wins. Then we're going to do a dream storm exercise. We're going to get creative and brainstorm your dreams, a chance to think big. And then we're going to bring in our feelings and our emotions. We're going to map things out a bit, do some reflection, hopefully find some deep insights into ourselves and areas to focus our goals. All right, so again, this workshop is designed to be engaging. You're going to have time to reflect and write with optional opportunities to share in chat if you'd like. So there's no pressure. I hope this feels like a supportive space. And you're welcome to keep things personal or participate, whatever way feels right for you. So on that note, here's your first chance to share in chat. I would love for you to put in chat 1 or 2 words that describe how you're feeling right now after hearing a bit about what we're going to be doing today. Awesome. I love it. Hopeful, calm, optimistic, curious, engaged, awake. Yay. Good morning. I love it. All right. So before we jump into the dreaming big part, we're going to first take a moment to ground ourselves by reflecting on what we've already accomplished. So often we can move right past our wins, right? We don't celebrate them. They're no big deal. We just are looking at the next step in our big list of to-dos. But this is important to me because I think it's really helpful to remind ourselves of our strength, our own growth, and what we're truly capable of. How amazing you are. So this step is going to be about anchoring ourselves in our own potential. It's going to help us move into step 2 with confidence and energy. Go ahead, grab a pen, a paper, your notes app, or one of those sticky notes maybe you already have for step 2, whatever you're using. And I want you to jot down 3 accomplishments from the past 3 to 5 years that you're proud of. Now, these can be personal, professional, tiny, huge. Whatever comes to the surface for you, I want you to take this moment to celebrate you. And we're going to let that sense of pride set the tone for the next couple steps. So I'll give you a minute now. All right. Anybody wants to share? This is another chance to do so. I would love to see what successes you're proud of today. Totally optional. All right. Completed my master's degree. Congratulations. All right, so now it's time for one of my favorite parts of this workshop, launch my three kids into college grad school. Yay, I'm just gonna keep getting distracted by seeing all these. Pickleball, I love it. All right, let's get into step two. This is one of my favorite parts of the workshop, the dream storm. All right, so this is a chance to open up the floodgates. We're gonna let our imagination take lead. Think of it like a creative brainstorm, but for your dreams. All right, so here's how it's gonna work. You're going to write down your dreams, one per sticky note. So if you are choosing the sticky note option, pull that pad of sticky notes out. If you're using a Google Sheet, that's another option. As I transitioned this to a virtual setting, I wanted to give you guys another option. If you're using a Google Sheet, what you're going to do is you're going to put one dream in each cell in column A. So that's just going to list all down on column A. All right. And now, when I say dreams, I mean anything. Big, small, practical, crazy out there. These can also be personal, professional, playful. Everything is totally fair game. So, for example, the last time I did this exercise, which was pretty recently, what did I write down? I wrote, move to Hawaii. I wrote, get better sleep, be a contestant on a game show, and move my body every day. So, if you can see what I mean, they're kind of all over the map. That's the point. This is really about opening yourself up to what you truly want. No filtering, editing, or overthinking. If you had a magic wand, anything were possible, how would you create your life? So, I want you to let it flow. Try to come up with at least 10 for the sake of the exercise. Okay. And if you're feeling stuck, here's some prompts up on the screen that might be able to help you. For this, I'm going to give you some time, okay? So I want you to take a few minutes to write down. I'm going to stare at people's heads as they're writing, but if someone's done and they just want to give me a visual thumbs up, that'd be great too. We'll keep going for a while and then I'll give you a 1 minute warning when it'll be time to move on. So happy dreamstorming. All right, so we're going to call that time on your dream storm. We're going to head into step three, but before, some of you are already doing it. I love it so much. I want to know what you're dreaming about. Wow, someone wrote end world conflict. Wouldn't that be an incredible thing to happen? I saw a bunch of traveling in there. I saw something about nonprofit work. Hopefully, folks can find some inspiration too. 50 States by 50 skydive, quit my job. Love it. All the different magic wand things, coaching certification, hot air balloon, debt free. Guys, your dreams are amazing. All right. Keep sharing. Okay, if you want to. We're going to move into our step three of the process. This step I called Feel Your Future. All right, so let's talk about feelings and emotions for a second. If that big goal, that big dream came true, what emotion would it bring up for you? This step is going to dig into it's going to be all about connecting dots between your dreams and the feelings that fuel them. All right, so we're going to take a moment now to look back through our list of dreams. For each one, I want you to jot down an emotion or a feeling that you would experience if that dream would come true. Would it bring joy, freedom, peace, excitement? There's no right answer. Just go with what first comes up for you. If you're using Post-its, you're going to go ahead and write that feeling directly on each of those Post-its. If you're working in the Google Sheet, you're going to add it to column B. So you can see my little screenshot here. You're going to put directly across from dream one, you're going to write the feeling for dream one. So your column A is going to be full of your dreams. Your column B is going to be full of those feelings. This should only take a few minutes because you're just going to trust your gut. You're not going to overthink this. Maybe one of your dreams was a feeling, like feeling peaceful, then you'll just go ahead and circle that emotion. All right. A few examples from mine. I wrote, get better sleep. I wrote my feeling of healthy and energized. Be a contestant on a game show is one of my dreams. And I wrote excited. So hopefully that's clear to everyone. We're going to take 2 minutes here. Start putting your feelings that are attached to your dreams down. Okay, let's keep going, right? What's next? Step 4. Okay, now that you've matched each dream with how it makes you feel, let's take it one step further. This step is called emotion map. This is all about noticing the patterns in what really drives and excites you. So your task here is to group your dreams by emotion. If multiple dreams are tied to a feeling like freedom, put all those together. Joy, peace, whatever came up for you. If you're using Post-its, this is a very physical exercise, right? You're going to lay all your Post-its out on a desk, on a wall, on a floor, and you're going to physically group them by the emotions that came up. Make little bundles. If you're working in a spreadsheet or a Google Sheet, this would be a great time to go ahead and sort by column B. I know this probably won't be perfect. It may require a little bit of finesse if you use like one or two words, but hopefully it'll be a good place to start if you're on the Google Sheet. To sort in Google Sheet, to remind you, you put your cursor in column B, and then you'll go up to data sort, and it should be able to sort it for you. Um, Hopefully that'll get you started. But this shouldn't take long. How many categories? However many you have. I mean, maybe you don't have more than one dream attached to one emotion, right? Maybe you have 10 different emotions. And that's totally fine. This is your work for yourself. And if there are feelings that show up the most, you'll see multiple things in that category. So once you've gotten them grouped, move back to the list of emotions. Yes, I'll pull that back up. Once you have them grouped, I want you to see if I can go. There you go. I want you to kind of take a step back. We're going to take a step back and then we're going to see what we notice. So here's the feelings for those folks that wanted that back up. When I did this in person, I had people, there were giant Post-its hung on the wall, and then I had people put their Post-its on the giant Post-it. So it was a fun way to kind of create your own vision board, if you will. Okay. Now, step 5. So this is, there's a good amount to unpack here. This is a really big step. So we're going to take it slow. I'm going to try and talk slowly through this. Now that you've grouped your dreams by feelings, it's time for us to take a deeper look at what those feelings are telling you. You might notice a few emotions showing up again and again, right? Maybe you have a bunch of emotions or a bunch of dreams around peace or freedom. It's no accident, as you can imagine. These recurring emotions are powerful clues about what you might really be longing for underneath the dreams themselves. Also, clues if you don't have any bunches and you have 10 different feelings that come up. But here's where we make an important shift, okay? We're going to start distinguishing between goals and strategies. So let's use my goal example of move to Hawaii, okay? That's what we might typically call a goal. My goal is to move to Hawaii, something concrete, something specific. But when I look at the feeling tied to it, which I wrote down as peaceful, that's when I realize that the real goal might actually be the feeling of peace. Moving to Hawaii, that's just one possible strategy to get there. And the twist, of course, is that moving to Hawaii might not actually bring me peace after all, right? I may get there and be stressed out about the high grocery prices and all the house guests that I have. So while something might sound dreamy, it's not necessarily a guarantee that it's going to deliver on what you think that it will. And that's why this shift can be really powerful and matter, because there may be a simpler, more immediate way to feel that feeling now without needing this giant dream to come true. I can maybe go on a trip to Hawaii to find peace. I can go for a long walk during the day to find peace. So when we recognize that the feeling is the goal and the dream is just one of the strategies, you may be able to give yourself more options, more flexibility, and more power. This shift can help transform your goals from those rigid checkboxes into something deeper, more aligned, and more fulfilling, more in touch with your values if you attended the value workshop yesterday. So, to be clear though, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily giving up on these big dreams. You still might buy the house and move to Hawaii, but you're getting clearer on why they matter to you. Okay? So take a few minutes now to reflect. What emotions are most common across your dream clusters? What are those feelings trying to tell you about what you truly want? And what are some other ways, big or small, that you might actually experience those feelings right now?
So I have a question, if I may.
Mhm. Please.
As I'm categorizing, I've realized that these aren't really feelings. For example, two themes that I've come up with are exploration and recognition. So I'm not quite sure that those are feelings. How do I translate that? And another one that I have is more being empowered. That's more of a feeling.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, they still sound feeling oriented to me, and it makes me curious if you take those themes and you think, okay, are there smaller things that I can be doing now? Are there other strategies that can help me get to that same place? And is that place really where I want to go? This isn't a perfect science, right? Like sometimes the feeling is the goal, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just, want a new job. Sometimes you just want to be healthier. But sometimes it is. So those are all good questions to kind of ask yourself to see what it is that's kind of pulling you one way or the other. Does that help?
yeah, I think so. Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of feelings and goals to meet your basic needs. You're stumped on how the chat got cut off. How to achieve them now. Maybe you already have then. Or maybe you need to dream a little bigger. Maybe there's space there to get a little bit more curious. All right. Anybody wants to share? Feel free to plop it in chat. I love all of the things that are popping up and people are sharing in chat all the questions that you have. But if something powerful came up for you, or maybe didn't, maybe that's totally fine and interesting in itself. But feel free to share anything you feel like you want. Sounds like some people might be stuck. There's a substitute for them. Trying to read through some of these chats. Maybe there isn't a substitute for your dreams. Then maybe that's what you focus on, is accomplishing that dream. All right, amazing, amazing work, everybody. Truly. Before we kind of move into a close, I do want to take a moment to zoom back, revisit the full 8 steps that we've been on. Today, we made it through the first 5, which is huge. We anchored ourselves in success. This was all about just reminding ourselves of what we've already done, what we're capable of doing in the future. We did a dream storm. We let it all out. We did big, small, practical, wild. We connected our dreams to the emotions that matter. Then we organized our goals by how we wanted to feel. And then we started doing a shift possibly from chasing the outcome to aligning with what you actually want to feel. Okay, so these first 5 steps are all about clarity, helping you see not just what you want, but why it matters to you. And there we go. We did the first 5. This is where we're going to pause today, but there are 3 more steps in the full process. And the good news is that these are definitely ones that you're going to be able to work through on your own. Ying is going to share some links and we'll have these resources available to you too. But I do have some worksheets that we have available that can help you guide through step 6 and step 7 if you want to keep going. Step 6 is all about choosing what matters most right now. And that's my biggest emphasis on that step is right now. It's so hard sometimes to prioritize because your life changes and you evolve and seasons come and go. So focus and prioritizing is all about choosing what matters to you most right now. Action Builder is all about turning your steps into small, doable, bite-sized next steps. Um, Realistic next steps is my emphasis with that one. Be really realistic with yourself. And then accountability, creating systems of support so you can actually follow through. That last step, accountability, not necessarily a step, but it's so powerful, right? Research has shown that people are up to 95% more likely to reach a goal when they have a regular check-in or accountability partner. So take advantage of the coaching that we have at your disposal through this conference or even past then. Find a friend. Goals are really fun, especially with a buddy. So that's what that's all about. All right, this is your last, not last, but this is the final prompt for you all to share in chat today. Curious, now that we've gotten through kind of the meat and potatoes of what we were doing today, what one word you would say to describe how you're feeling right now after our time together? Empowered, focused, great, lighter, confused. I love the honesty. Love it. Sounds like there's more to think through and figure out. Contemplative. Sad. Oh, I hope I didn't make you sad. Heavier. Wow. Guys, I really appreciate the honesty. I think it's really lovely to see all the different places that this work has taken you. And I'll say it again, but kind of back to that one thing I hope you got out of today was taking time to really listen in to yourself. Because I think there's some real unlocking and power there. And it sounds like a lot of you did some really cool work and maybe discovered things that got you confused, got you more anxious, and there's opportunity there, right, to figure all that out. Okay, gosh, guys, we did a lot of work. We got really vulnerable. We opened up. We thought deep. We went big. I'd love to take another pause to kind of help us close out and transition again. So I'm going to invite you again to do a mindful minute with me. If you choose, let's go ahead and take one final moment to pause, settle into stillness. Wherever you are, find a comfortable seat or stance and let your eyes soften or close. Take a deep breath in. Slowly exhale. Feel the ground or seat beneath you steady and supportive. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Now bring to mind one feeling, one insight, or one dream that surfaced for you today. Don't overthink it, just notice what is still with you. Take a moment to feel a sense of gratitude for showing up for you today, for tuning in, for giving yourself this time. Even in small ways, this work matters. So breathe into that space. Inhale clarity, exhale any pressure. Know that this process isn't about perfection. You're allowed to take your time, to check in, to change course. Reconnection is always available to you. Take one more deep breath in. Gently let it go. When you're ready, open your eyes. Carry that grounded, grateful energy with you, whatever comes next in our day. All right. I think we actually might have time. I know there's a ton of questions that were popping up in chat. Um, we do have time for some Q&A. It looks like next steps, I'll just shout out the coaching HQ that's happening after this. If some of you are signed up, perhaps that's another space that you can kind of continue this thought or this work or shift into something else. Now conference is Thursday. I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there? If so, I would love to meet you. It's going to be an amazing day. Shout out to the Now conference team for putting together just all of this wonderful stuff for us in our professional development. Find a colleague or friend. Goals are fun with a buddy. And then there's ways that you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn, Instagram, and then my Berkeley email. But Ying, maybe we'll open it up for a question or two.
Yeah, we had a question earlier about if you have a worksheet on the first 5 steps that we went through.
Hmm. I did share a worksheet on the first step with, I think that might be out there. It's a little bit more of a deeper dive into reflection because some folks really find the desire to kind of look back a little bit more. I do not have worksheets for the other 4 steps yet, I'll say. Um, But again, this is recorded. So, if you want to go back and revisit anything we talked about, maybe that can be a good resource for you.
Are you open to me sharing that accomplishment worksheet with folks in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I will do that.
Mm. Thanks, Elizabeth. The slides are also available. If there aren't more questions, I know a bunch popped up in chat. Um, we can also leave early. I mean, I know we all have busy days too. I do want to say, kind of in closing, obviously, thanks for coming. Hope you got that one thing that I was hoping everybody got out of this is really just listening in to yourself, and figuring out, what's coming up for you. And so here's to staying connected to your goals and to yourself. Oh, you're welcome, everybody. You can take
All
the
right,
extra.
if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask Rachel. We have some moments for some Q&A. We do have some comments, about how I guess they're at a point, somebody that's confused. Maybe it's because of some of these feelings that came up and that whether it align or maybe sort of go against some of the values that they had identified. And how do you navigate from that? I guess just, things that have come up. I mean, they're all real.
They are. And maybe it's just taking more time to be curious about that. Like, I think oftentimes we find ourselves having these feelings or these things that come up, and maybe they're like icky or like, oh God, I'm confused, I'm sad, I'm scared. And it's hard to sit with those more painful emotions. And so, my encouragement there is just really be curious about that. Huh, that's interesting. Why do I feel sad about that? That's interesting. I'm feeling more confused. Be real gentle with yourself, you know? Lots of softness and tenderness around you because there's a reason and it's not a problem to solve. It's not like, oh gosh, I have to fix the fact that I'm sad. Perhaps it's an opportunity to just get a little bit more clear on you and what's happening.
There's also a question about what about goals that make you anxious?
Mm.
Any tips and advice?
Oh, the ones that make you anxious. Curiosity. Honestly, ask yourself those questions. That's that's interesting. Why is that making me anxious? I shared that I had in my dream storm, I had a goal. I can't remember which one it was that came up that like made me feel scared and stuck. And my takeaway for myself was like, maybe that's not a goal. Maybe that's not a dream I want to dream. It's interesting that I went there and it's interesting that they came up for me, but that's helpful also. It's like, okay, that helps me kind of change course a little bit. And I thought I was going to go in this direction, but perhaps that's not actually something that's going to serve me the way that I thought that it would. Somebody raised their hand.
So, I just wanted to ask because a lot of my goals, not a lot, a couple of my goals were anxiety ridden in terms of how I would, if I did want to accomplish it in real life, it would cause me real anxiety. But then when I imagine myself having accomplished that goal, it's obviously I feel happy, excited, and all of that. So, how do you separate that distinction to say, you're happy because you've accomplished this goal, but then to actually do it, it's scary and anxiety ridden.
Yeah, it's almost like you're like, how do I break through that? Is it still
Yes.
a goal that's worth happening for me if it causes me this distress along the way? Maybe that's the question, like is the juice worth the squeeze? Is to get to the point of where I want to go, if this were to come true, worth the struggle? Because goals and dreams, I mean, it's work, right? To accomplish things. It's not something that's like, la la, okay, my actual magic wand. You have a lot of these things that you might write down, you actually have to do stuff for. And I think step 6 and 7 helps because that'll allow you to kind of break it down and be like, okay, is this actually realistic? Is this something that is realistic for me to achieve right now? Is that juice really worth the squeeze? Maybe yes, maybe no. And just because at the end you might feel that joy, what's the process going to look like for you?
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank
Yeah, I had one of the participants in my last workshop. She started her Google sheet and then she added more columns to it. It was like, okay, how do I feel about the process? What feelings come up for me about what this process would look like to get there? Oh, no, that's too much work. I don't have bandwidth for that right now. That's going to sit in the parking lot. I'm going to be really realistic. So you can also kind of, I mean, it's obviously all of this is customizable for you. Um, the feelings and those dreams are really to help pull those things out of you that you weren't, it's helpful when you take something out of your brain and then you put it down, then you can see it.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody wrote something in here. Also keep in mind the macro environment, political. Oh, I know. There's some things that are out of our control, completely out of our control. A lot of things that are out of our control.
There There are definitely a lot of questions that I'm scrolling through to make sure
Yeah.
it's not missed. If your question is not addressed, feel free to put them in the chat again or raise your hand. And while you do that, I just want to sort of thank Rachel for this fresh approach to goal setting. Such great exercises to dream, to reflect, so we can achieve those goals that maybe we never thought we could. So thank you so much, Rachel.